Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on. Hello, light beings. Thanks for waking up and shining on with us. I'm Shannon Shine. I got my partner here, Selomon.
Hey.
And I wasn't here last week, but I was catching up on an episode that Selo shared of it was kind of an older episode from the afternoon show, and they talked about star seeds. And it was an interesting listen there. There was some good stuff about like galactic connection, and it's cool that we've been kind of touching on this topic for a while now, and I think it evolves every time we talk about it. And I've been working on some starseed discussions for my Awakening with the Girls series I'm going to relaunch here soon. And yeah, I think that we should elaborate a little bit more about like divinity and how it connects with the starseed vibration and message. And I would love to kind of hear your response on that too, Silo, because I heard a lot of Ashton's answers from, it might have been a couple years ago, but I know he's still active in that community. So what does the connection to divinity and star seeds mean to you?
Such a good, interesting question to think about, because for so long this earth has not allowed us to consider the fact, or the possibility even, of otherworldly civilizations and such. And I find that the source of all creation has created the universe, and has created multiple universes, and that includes different kinds of galaxies, because there's as many galaxies in the sky as there are grains of sand on the beach. That's what they say.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I had a little bit of an existential crisis about this all the other day, so I'm kind of glad that we're talking about it on a deeper level, because I started asking myself, like how I really do feel about the idea of star seeds and the galactic heritage versus like the God energy, the source energy, and how it all fit in together. And started really reflecting on how, like to me, the divinity is something that's within us. And I've heard a few people bring that up in different ways recently. How like connecting with the source is something that we can do because we embody it. And how when we talk about God or the universe, different things like that, how that energy also would have created like an extraterrestrial being, or kind of a galactic lineage, and that we come from somewhere other than just here on Earth. And I know there's so many different theories. Some people have like flat Earth theory, some people have like alternate Earth theory and alternate dimensions, and sometimes I bounce around on like the different dimensions and timelines concept because I work with quantum healing, and I think that's why I was having an existential crisis, like how can there be so many different timelines but also like a galactic connection and karma and past lives. And it's such a wormhole to get drawn into, even after being on this ride for like over a decade now. It feels like I'm still looking into all those questions differently every day.
It's can be a big wormhole to get into. Even just thinking about other civilizations existing and what kind of spirituality they would have. But, I think we get a glimpse into the possibilities in a lot of the Star Trek episodes, because, in some of them they see one of the Federation's ships coming into the atmosphere. And if they're a civilization that hasn't gotten that far, to even think that it could be a ship assumes that it's a god, coming down onto the planet in a chariot or something,
Yeah, and that also made me think of like the Orville episode, which is kind of like the newer version of like more comedic Star Trek, where just kind of spoil, like one of the main captains, the co-pilot, I guess, she goes down to this planet and they see her, they see her like help a little girl or something like that, and she becomes an idol for them, and they start like worshiping her basically like Jesus, because she just had technology and like an understanding of how to heal differently. And like they would be able to like visit this planet every couple hundred years, and they would evolve so much, and they would be able to see like how that one visit affected that civilization. And like concepts like that can really make people think. It made me think a lot too, because it's like, okay, so star seeds are coming back, and we have this like wave of new age energy that was really big back in the 60s, and like they talk about star seeds and walk-ins and how these different energies and portals can like come through at certain time frames. And it does feel like there's such an intense connection for so many beings right now to more galactic heritage and connections and energies, and that understanding that we're something so much more than just a basic human.
Yeah, there's tons of theories out there, but what I think is the ultimate truth is that we're all a reflection of the divine. We're all creators, as the divine created all things. And so I do believe that there are other civilizations out there. I know a lot of people are starting to resonate with a lot of the different places out there, like Orion and Pleiadian and Andromedan and Antarian. And so I do believe in that stuff, and I do believe that it was all created by God, in my perspective. God, the creator, source, the divine. I love to use the word the divine because I think it is a very personal thing, and you need to have a very personal relationship with what you consider God, what you consider the divine. And you know, that's what part of life is about, is finding your connection to that and being able to work with it and, you know, help it guide you to create a beautiful life, a beautiful existence, or at least a fulfilling of your purpose.
Definitely. I think the word divinity is a really big word for a lot of people. And I actually got in this discussion on a different podcast recently. I was a guest on 21st Century Vitalism with Brett Kane, and he asked me a couple of different times in different ways, actually, what the divine means to me and like how to express that. And I think it's just always evolving, because it does feel like it's this connection to something so much bigger than me, but it's also a part of me and what created me. And you spoke of like Andromeda and Sirians and Pleiadians and all of this energy. And I'm a person that resonates with the energy of Lyra. I talk about the Prism of Lyra book a lot. And what's interesting in that, like
Lyrian. Yeah.
What's interesting in that connection though, is the Lyrian energy actually, it's said to not exist anymore. Like that space and earth where that planet was, or that civilization was, actually got basically exploded and turned into like what they call a white hole instead of like a black hole. It's just like this white portal of light.
Wow. I wonder what could a white hole be like?
Well,
that's crazy.
Basically, part of it I think is connected to the Big Bang. Like when the Big Bang happened, the Big Bang was actually like a after effect of this war that was kind of happening in Lyra, and it was this war of like polarity and energy. And I think that's where a lot of this like this discussion that a lot of people are having, especially in the spiritual community, of masculine versus feminine, is kind of a rebirthing of a trauma from a different civilization, and we've experienced it as souls before. I also talk a lot about like us being part of a video game and the world being part of a video game, and how if it is a video game and we're able to play it because we have free will to have the experience, we're part of creation or God or source having an experience here on earth. So we're playing the game with our free will of how we want it to react. Like there's like a destination at the end of the game, like most games have endings, but how we kind of navigate it is our free will experience. I think that's probably where the concept of the game of life came, you know? But in that same sense, energy can't be created or destroyed. So we've lived these other lifetimes in other forms. In the Prism of Lyra book, it talks about how creation decided that it wanted to have a very polarized unit for souls to travel in. That's why our bodies are typically very symmetrical and connected by a torso in like a throat space, which is like where they say the chakras kind of align, but they have a symmetrical energy because of that polarity of the feminine and masculine. So that's again that like rebirthing of something we've been fighting throughout the galactic heritage.
All right. So it sounds like what you're saying is the Big Bang was a result of a completely different universe, that almost like a different planet or maybe a different sun or something happened, something exploded and created a white hole, which to us was the beginning of creation. And so do you consider all of that like part of God's creation or part of the divine's creation?
Yeah, I think I do, because something had to create that experience. Something wanted to witness that experience, even in a more, from this perspective, like galactic or alien extraterrestrial experience. You know, like maybe those bodies were slightly more feline, or there's like people who believe that they've come from a race that's more reptilian like and things like that. Some people feel more connected to bird-like beings. Like there's an energy out there that could be sometimes called God, spirit, universe, the divine, the great source, whatever, that wants to witness what it feels like to be conscious and all of those experiences. That's why they say that God or source created birds and elephants and giraffes. It's like still witnessing it through that experience. Just on some planets, maybe those beings had the opportunity to be more progressive in their evolution than others. So like, because we have Earth, the great spirit or the divine wanted to experience us as Homo sapiens, as the most evolved creature. On another planet, maybe it wanted to have, like I said, evolved cat-like beings or bird-like beings, and to see what it would be like for those types of civilizations to happen. So there's something out there somewhere that is energetically putting that into play.
All right. And so what do you think is the connection between, you know, our own inner divinity and any kind of outside creation in terms of like outside of ourselves, like other civilizations, you know, other planets? What do you think is the connection with inner divinity and other galaxies and civilizations?
I think that's where like the past life discussion kind of comes into play, and like the idea that the energy is being reused in some format. So like that's why some people have dreams of being like other types of beings or other types of energies, and some people have that identity of being what is called or considered an old soul, because they've been an energy that has been kind of recycled or reincarnated or witnessed multiple different types of lifestyles and lifetimes in a fast rate. They may say that some people like would ascend quicker, or they just experience that energy in a different way. And I think that's why people start to get upset at different channels and beings that say that they're starseeds, because they think, oh, these people think they're special, or you think that you have this ability that other people don't. And I don't think it's that at all. I think it's just that us as starseeds, people who claim to be starseeds, are channels for more galactic energy, that we've unlocked it and been willing to accept that there's something bigger than us. And you know what? Maybe that's not the same for the people that are upset with this concept or with this way of thinking. And I think it challenges their thought of this like closed-minded, like Earth is all there is energy, because it can be scary for a lot of people. But those that resonate with the starseed lineage and the understanding that there's something bigger out there for them, and they never really felt at home or at peace with this like Earth is the only energy, that they likely have had many past lives as other beings or other experiences, and they've been willing to unlock them and make commitments to themselves through the experiences to evolve through it.
Well, bam. Nice. Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think that it's all very interesting to think about, because for so long we've just been here with our own spirituality and whatever has happened. You know, a lot of religions have been created and some taken over, and you know, so it's created almost like a narrow-minded perspective on what is divine's creation. And I think it goes far beyond, you know, our civilization's history on this planet. And it's very interesting to think what you know, kind of changes our Earth's you know, spiritual perspectives and religious perspectives will shift if it comes out that we're not the only intelligent life in this universe.
Yeah, I think that it would create a whole new reality for so many people, and I think that's why a lot of people are afraid of like a governmental collapse and like a currency collapse, and people are investing in more like electronical money, because, you know, like what if there's other societies out there and we start expanding on a galactic level? We already have trouble like communicating and trading in between our own colonies here on Earth, you know, like what's it going to be like when people start interacting with a galactic level? On Star Trek, they don't have money, and like people get education in different ways and through experience in a lot of ways. And like food isn't hard to come by. They just like materialize it. What if there was a civilization out there that gave us the ability to materialize food so that nobody anywhere had to be hungry? It's bad enough that we have the amount of food and shelter in the world to like take care of all these people, and we don't. But what happens when like other beings come in and they either want to take that shelter from us or they want to help us? The whole infrastructure that we have here just collapses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also something interesting on Star Trek is how diverse it all is, and how each character really has, you know, their own connection to the divine and their own spiritual beliefs, and they don't like hamper each other to believe in the same things. They're like allowed to believe what they believe, you know, and practice their beliefs.
Yeah, like one of the main characters in Next Generation, Worf, he has all kinds of different just like belief
practices,
systems and rituals. Yeah, and things like that. And then in the Orville, there's a similar character. In their planet, it is crazy because they don't even let there be females. Like they get rid of the feminine energy completely and make their beings go through a surgery at birth so that they're all male. But they still have like these other crazy rituals, and like they're on this galactic ship, and they have to like honor and respect that, and they have to know that, you know, like some people here on Earth, it seems like they think that there's just like a God source out there that's judging them, and like all these things happen in a certain linear format. But like in galactic standards, they would have to know that that heaven is a slightly different energy than this like space you go. It might be like a space and time, but it's not like a physical space, because they can travel through the universe, you know, like it's something in a different dimension. It's within you. It's like once the physical is not here, it's where that energy goes type thing. But they're experiencing it on such a galactic level. I know we're talking about Star Trek like it's a thing, but maybe it is, but we just don't know how to wrap our minds around it yet.
Yeah, I think we'll find some similarities with Star Trek. I just kind of feel that like there's a few civilizations that they're really connected to, and it took them a while to develop like a peaceful cohabitual relationship with them, where they could, you know, explore each other's territories and whatnot. But you know, they came together and created a whole Galactic Federation, which is hilarious because, you know, recently somebody came out about our planet's governments having contact with a quote-unquote Galactic Federation.
Yeah, for a long time I kind of wondered if the Galactic Federation wasn't just like a small group of people or energies somewhere out there that put all of us beings here on Earth in different formats. I have like this energy reading ability, I guess, that I've unlocked that lets me see like blueprints of people. Like, have you ever looked at different people and been like, oh, they might be from the same planet or they have the same blueprint? And sometimes I relate it to the concept of a video game, like how you only have so many different blueprints for characters. And that concept came up from somewhere. Like, yeah, we have all these unique bodies, but there's these specific blueprints. And Star Trek kind of plays off that idea too, where they have like the Vulcans, and then they have like the different nationalities or races and throughout the series. And if you look at Earth in like the Prism of Lyra and in the Tree of Life type of theories, they talk about how these different civilizations came to Earth to experience it, and that part of the Big Bang was that it pushed all of these different galactic civilizations here to Earth. And some of them were more masculine, and some of them were more technology based, and some of them more like earthly based, like maybe they were already here. And you can see that in different tribes and different communities in the Earth, and especially in like early Earth, how some people, like more indigenous tribes, really preferred to work with Earth and like natural resources. And then there were some more masculine communities that really wanted to like make molten metals and turn them into swords and then guns, and technology got mixed into it. And these different tribes came together, like they came from somewhere. And in Prism of Lyra, there's like a chapter about that where they talk about where they placed certain tribes on the Earth and how it fits in with like the Tree of Life and some of those different sacred geometry symbols that are becoming so popular right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what the ley lines are considered, you know? Have you heard about the ley lines?
I call it the grid work, but yeah, like the ley lines are where there's these different energy centers kind of mapping around the Earth sphere.
Yeah, and some of them have like connecting lines of extra powerful energy and stuff. And so, you know, some sacred sites like Stonehenge and stuff, I'm sure are like, you know, part of that divine grid point. Sort of like when we make grids and we put a little crystal in the connecting areas, it's like some divine creation placing those. Yeah,
it's like the weaving of a fabric is like the layer of reality. And like when you see atoms and things broken down, they're in typically like little lines, almost like it looks like a connect the dot, and they like make boxes and like all these different shapes. And that's how we make physical things. You know, I'm not getting into the science term here, but I'm trying to break it down for people.
Matter.
Yeah, like myself in an earlier form, that's like, how does this energy all connect to each other?
I think it's crazy that from what we understand and have seen diagrams of, is that an atom super zoomed in looks a lot like a solar system, and our pupils look a lot like, you know, space debris and stuff like that. So
we are stardust. That's right. What they say.
Right. And so, you know, I think we are all very connected to the galaxy at large, and, you know, this universe. It's big, but then it's also, I feel like, within us too. So the divine within is also, you know, the divine outside.
Such a neat perspective. There's so many different perspectives of it too. And like I said, I think that what we're trying to do here on this podcast is just hold space for the different discussions and to, you know, kind of work it out ourselves. Like I said, I was having a slight existential crisis the other day. Like, how does all this fit together? Like, how can we believe in like a source, but also like extraterrestrial energy? And like, what is the best way to like put this in a format that makes sense for others to like wrap their head around? And, you know, that's kind of where channeling and stuff comes in too, because like I kind of breathe through that and meditation, and it started to make more sense to me and how it worked for my mind to wrap my like perception around it. And I hope this invites other people to just explore, like, what are your thoughts on it? And are you letting other people, like, even, like, don't just take our word for it, like, make your own, like, form of reality. You have free will here to kind of express yourself and your connection to the energy that you are. And I'm kind of curious if more people want to hear things like this, if they could give us some feedback at the Bring Me to Life website or in the Facebook group. I know we have some people that also want to talk about, like, divinity and relationships and connecting with that. And I think it ties into, like, working through that past life trauma and that trauma in general, and how you can work together with partners, and how oftentimes we've connected with these similar energies other places, you know, in the universe and the time-space continuum and the galaxy, and how we navigated it then versus now, and how we can open up ourselves to different experiences.
Yeah, it is really important for each person to explore and find their own meaning for all of this. And some of the things we say might resonate, and that's probably why you're listening. And that's a good sign if it resonates.
Yep.
And, you know, if it doesn't, that's okay. We always say that, you know, and that goes with any of the events that we do, the podcasts that we do. You know, it's a big thing for us to hold space for others to have their own relationship with the divine. Definitely.
Bringing you to life in various forms. If you have some feedback on this, again, like, we'd love to hear from you in the Bring Me to Life community group on Facebook. Share your perspective on starseeds, or where you've learned something cool about that and how it opened you up. We've got a few people in the chat, and someone said they would love to hear more, and we hope to bring you more. And if you have specific questions, that helps us kind of guide this conversation right along, so that we can respond to you and help expand in areas that you wish to hear from.
Absolutely. You know, and if it's okay, I would like to kind of just, like, very lightly touch upon relationships and spirituality, because that's something that we get a lot of, and maybe give a little sneak peek for, you know, what's coming up. And as we get deeper into a topic like this, maybe just kind of scratch it a little bit on the surface.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be important to continue this conversation and talking how we connect to the energies around us, not only in an intimate format, but just in general conversation. Part of the reason I did that little kind of side rant there about wanting you to have your own opinion is because so often we get into relationships and we start to evolve and we start having questions like this, and sometimes our partners don't always want to navigate it in the same way, and it's important to just hold space for that, and to hold space for yourself too, to maybe expand differently and to find other opportunities.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and, you know, sometimes not all of the opportunities are for you, and it's okay if an opportunity doesn't work out, because as long as you're taking action and, you know, working with what you receive, then that is good. And if something falls apart, it's because it's meant to, and something, you know, more aligned for you is going to come along.
Totally. In the same respect, sometimes you find a partner that will want to explore with you, or doesn't know how to communicate with you, but wants to hold space, or maybe you're that partner. I think Silo and I are in the process of kind of working out a little kind of like spiritual relationship series for people. It seems like that's a good thing to start discussing around this time of year, especially as we navigate the colder months and people are, you know, stuck inside together, or trying to just freshen up their relationships and communication and things like that. So we would love to hear if you have any questions in that area too. Divine relationships and how to navigate them. Something to stay tuned for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we have an interesting perspective.
Yeah, we've been going for over 7 years on our spiritual journey. Not many couples seem to work together and go on that spiritual journey together. We got our Reiki certificates together, and just explored different sides of ourselves, and went through a lot of chakra work and divine energy work, communication, how we've communicated. We both had to let go of different previous traumatic relationships and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot to discuss there, but I think I feel guided to take a little break here and set an intention with the community, whatever they would like to bring into their world this next week, or if they have anything they want to kind of manifest, and do a little reading. And yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back.
All right. Shannon Shine back here with a reading from the Secret Language of Light deck. And I love doing readings at the end of these, and then how they align perfectly with some of the things we talked about. I think that is just a divine representation of how oracle cards are helpful in channeling messages. That was another question I had from a listener, was how to work with oracle cards and tarot more deeply. And typically I work mostly with oracle. I just recently got a tarot deck that I'm starting to connect with more, but often I will just resonate with the images, or I will pick a random card and just see what the message in the book says, like it's a channeled oracle as well. So find a deck that resonates with you if you're someone looking to connect with that. But I'm using the Secret Language of Light deck. Super cool, colorful art. And the first card that came out today was Awakening. And we've been kind of talking about this starseed awakening and this energetic awakening of how anyone anywhere could technically be a starseed if they're willing to open up and expand their mind and see what they're capable of energetically, with any sort of abilities or opportunities and power of their free will. And the Awakening card itself says that there is wisdom that emerges through everyday experience, and that we are about to experience a lot of aha moments and awakened moments where we feel more in tune, like there's something that's being revealed, and that there will become a feeling of deep truth that has seemed to slip through our minds and into the forefront. It also says that we have often thought there must be another way to experience and live this life, and that we are now discovering it, and that we're opening our hearts and minds to the full, authentic versions of us. It says there's time-honored ways that have worked in the past that are no longer bringing the results that we desire, and that may have become obstacles to our dreams. So beliefs become intermingled with everyday processes and who we are and think we are. So no wonder that it can seem hard to let them go. And when you rouse from a slumber of conformity, you awaken into the same world, but with the eyes of a soul's love that you can see beyond fear to the creative possibilities that are everywhere. It says, relax and enjoy this time because it's part of the natural evolution. that is crazy in alignment with our discussion today. So we had a couple more cards here. The next one that came is the There is Only Light card. And I thought that was kind of cool because I was talking earlier in this discussion about how Lyra is an energy that is now light. And Lyra is kind of like, it's kind of like the mother of all energies in a lot of ways, because all of the current kind of galactic energies that people talk about being connected to are also connected to Lyra in some form, which is why it was part of that Big Bang. It helped create light. And it says, darkness is just an absence of light. Light is sought after and extraordinary, and we seek clarity of light, and the lightness of being is a light bulb of moments. Light bypasses the analytical mind and takes us straight into the loving wisdom. It's a time for us to step into our shining light and be illuminated and let the light in. Today is the day to release any disturbances in your energy, because happiness will come naturally unless you do something to prevent it from happening. And side note, I feel like that's what happens when a lot of us do things that we think we should do instead of following our joy and things like that. Like we're preventing that experience. So it says, release all that is stopping you from happiness from flowing into your world, and it will appear before you. It seems too easy, but is truly that simple. And until you realize this, you remain connected to the belief that struggle is required. Perhaps you feel like it's even more respected. It's like this lesson-laden path. But we often take on the belief that if we struggle, others will think more of us and that we will appreciate the things more because we struggled. Isn't that a silly belief system? But I feel like so many of us are navigating it. And it also says when you go against your soul, you move away from your brightness, and the darkness is a sign. It's a time to feel your way back into your true heart and soul. Some powerful messages. I love these cards. They're so on point sometimes. So then the next card that fell out was the Divine Masculine, which just happens to be only one card away from the There is Light card, which in between it is obvious the Divine Feminine. So I'm going to quickly share with you both the Divine Feminine and Masculine, since we talked about that today, and it just seems like that's what Spirit wants. So it says, but the Divine Feminine, shine your inner light on your desires. Look beyond the obvious and the superficial into the heart of the matter, and peer deeper into the hidden and explore the mysterious. Remember that your vast potential and the unlimited possibilities are all available to you, and it's your time now to trust your intuition of your inner voice and your instincts. This may also be a time for stillness, for there are unseen forces at work, orchestrating the whole universe to bring this intense and beautiful experience to your life. Allow yourself to receive all that you want, and you are the mother of all that you create. Nurture yourself and all that flows within and around you, because there may be an impeding marriage or birth around you in some energetic way, either physically or symbiotically. The Divine Feminine wants you to know that there is always enough to go around, and abundance is everywhere, and your most important thing is to embrace joy. Felt like that was pretty in alignment. And the last card I'll share with you guys this evening is the Divine Masculine, the light that supports desire and inspires action. Remember that everything has a purpose. You will not always understand what the purpose of something is, however, it is someone's creation, that divine's creation, and it's to be respected, and if you don't like it, let it be the inspiration to create something more aligned with what your soul's purpose really is. Consider that all areas of your life and reevaluate any parts that may not be working. You can be your own father by respecting your ideas and providing a way for them to manifest. You're the master of your own making, so now is the time to recognize your inner strength and motivation, and to be a leader of your thoughts and emotions instead of just a follower. Stand your ground and regain your self-respect, and pick yourself up and dust yourself off, because this is not a time to force against or try to control external forces, but this is a time for disciplining the way that you focus and what you think about, so that you can create your dreams. I thought that was such a powerful message to share with everybody tonight, especially as we step into this understanding that there's a divinity within all of us to take control of our experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that last card. I feel like it helped confirm, just keeps confirming things that I, am thinking about over and over again. So that's very helpful. Speaking of the Divine Masculine, in January so far we've had a total of 6 solar flares And the last one was actually today. It is the highest solar flare we've had this month, and it's just a C.
Mm-hmm.
It's a C1, which means it's a small solar flare. So it's kind of slowed down a little bit here in January, and it's still going to pick up. It'll be like a little roller coaster for a while until it keeps building up and building up. But, it's all good. We're safe. Everything's fine. It just means that the divine masculine is, it's working on things. Our consciousness is evolving, and we're becoming more harmonious and balanced with the earth and the sun.
Thank you for that solar report, Selomon.
Thank you.
Cool. Do you have anything else you want to share? Did you want to lead a little short 2-minute meditation for everybody, or how are you feeling?
Okay, I can lead a 2-minute meditation. Let's all close our eyes and begin to breathe consciously. Taking in everything and that we listened to, everything that we did during the podcast here. Just taking it all in and allowing yourself to observe it all for just a moment. You can feel gratitude for anything that you picked up today, for any experience you've had, and just send love to yourself, send compassion to yourself. Remind yourself that you're doing your best, and that as long as you do your best, everything will be okay. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and when you're ready, you can exhale and end your meditation.
Beautiful. Thank you for that moment, Selomon. For any of you that don't know, Selo is rocking Monday meditations on Insight Timer. He's going to be doing some more different days, but I know Monday mornings. I've been really enjoying his little creative meditations. I think we did like a creative divinity meditation this week.
I just scheduled next week's.
Yeah, so you usually do those around 8:30 Eastern Standard Time?
a.m. in the Eastern Standard Time.
So check out Selomon on Insight Timer. We recently did a new moon ceremony on there. It was pretty fun. If you don't know, Insight Timer is an app. And
it's a meditation app with also like a lot of music and stuff. So it's basically for like yoga and meditation, and it kind of tracks your progress when you do things, and which is really nice to see, see how far you've come and everything like that.
Yeah, it's just pretty cool. So I was just thinking about that, how calming your meditations are, and people always are like, hey, where do we hear more meditations by Selomon? Check out Insight Timer or selomon.com. But
next one's going to be on world peace.
Yeah. Cool. It's been a great podcast. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for waking up
and shining on. For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning, and to really just connect with higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.